Welcome to this demonstration of Mondoo's Agentic Vulnerability Management and our Fix Now, Fix Forever workflow. My name is André and I'm Principal Sales Engineer at Mondoo. In today's environments, where vulnerabilities and misconfigurations are a rising and constant threat, and where remediation windows are shrinking, the traditional patching processes are not only too slow, but also too manual and too disconnected. With the Mondoo platform and our agentic vulnerability management approach, we have built an automated workflow that closes the loop, from vulnerability or misconfiguration detection over prioritization to full remediation and storing the evidence for reporting and audit purposes. All of it without human bottlenecks. This demo showcases how we have tightly integrated Mondoo's agentic vulnerability management insights with GitHub Actions and Ansible to create a self-healing infrastructure loop. The system dynamically responds to new vulnerabilities, determines the appropriate remediation path, auto-generates pull requests with patching logic, applies the changes once the pull request is approved, confirms the patching and changes, and stores the historical context for reporting and compliance. If for some reason the vulnerability is detected again, the workflow automatically patches the system again because it knows this was already patched and approved before. Therefore, there is no need for another approval or human intervention. As a quick side note, we are using GitHub as an example of how a fully automated remediation pipeline can look like. This can also be implemented with the pipeline and software you are already using and familiar with. But let's start and let me show you how this all looks like. In this space, we have currently two assets. One of them just popped up this morning that the risk score has changed and I was informed by the platform to look at it. So once I logged in, I can clearly see that there is a vulnerability on this asset. It's internet exposed and also it has processes listening on open ports. So I'm going over to the vulnerabilities and can see that this is from a high rating, and I can check also our vulnerability insights, and I can clearly see that there is a patch available. So of course, I want to patch this right away. I go onto the Take Action button and create a ticket. The ticket that I'm now creating here is automatically created in Mondoo as well as in GitHub with all the relevant information. So if I show you the ticket here, you can see that I have the contained CVE I want to patch and also the asset that I want to patch this on. So if I open the link here now, I can see in GitHub issues that I have the exact same information. I have an overview, I have the scoring of this vulnerability as well as the asset I want to fix. And of course, I have the person that reported this issue. So what does it do now in the background? It extracts all the metadata like the CVE and the advisory ID and the affected asset from this issue. It then also checks the current IP address of this asset and then gives me the entire patching scope. This all is then creating a new pull request right here in the platform fully automatically. This pull request can now be reviewed by the vulnerability manager, and it includes all the relevant information that is required in order to take an informed decision. If I now go over here to the files that have changed, I can see that the inventory has changed and the current IP address of the asset was put in, as well as the Ansible playbook that got automatically created for the asset I want to fix. So if I go back to the conversation, I can say, okay, this is fine. Let me merge this pull request and confirm or approve this change. So as soon as this pull request is approved, another workflow will run in the background. This one will check the asset, will connect to the asset, and then apply the patches using Ansible and also verify that the patching was successful and do a scan afterwards. It will also record the host level patch results for long-term state and also for drift handling, which we will cover in a few minutes. Now, just think about how your current process and how much time and effort is involved to get all these findings, prioritize them, and then also fix them on the asset and report back the outcome. If we now go over to the actions, I can show you exactly how the patching looks like. So if we now open this workflow run, you can see the apply patches is running for 55 seconds. It's currently setting up Ansible and will then, as you can see here, connect to the asset, doing a ping to see if it's reachable, and then hop onto the asset, gathering the facts, and patching the system with the playbook that you just saw, that we just approved to apply the patches. Again, this will not do a full patching in like an apt-get upgrade for the entire system, but only patching the vulnerability that we want to patch. As you can see, it's now triggering a cnspec scan. It's recording the patch details, and that's it. As you can see, this now was run in 1 minute and 39 seconds. So in under 2 minutes, you have a fully patched system again. So if we go back to our ticket, of course, we can reload and can see that the progress is now 100%. So this one was now fixed, and I can also see my mitigated asset here. And of course, if I go back to GitHub, I can see that the issue here was closed as well automatically. And if I can view the asset here, you can see I have now my 2 assets and both of them are now fixed. And of course, the space risk is now also at 0 because that was the only finding that we currently had in that space, and you have nothing else to do. So, but now let's go even one step further and move to a state where you fix this issue forever. Let's assume for some reason the old package gets reinstalled by an employee or a non-approved rollback is done for some reason. So this was now done in the background. Someone reintroduced that issue. So if I go back to my assets, I can see, hey, I have the exact same vulnerability again for some reason. What happened here? So the Mondoo Agentic Vulnerability Management AI capabilities automatically detect this as a drift, and the platform knows that this specific vulnerability was already approved and patched before. So what happens is that Mondoo automatically creates a new ticket with all the relevant information again and the asset that the issue resides on. So if we open this new issue here, you can clearly see that this is the same information. And now the workflow in the background is triggered again. But in this case, it detects a drift because the issue was patched and approved before for this exact asset. So it automatically triggers the apply patches workflow and reuses the already created patches from before. It again queries the current IP address because it might have changed, and then writes and commits everything automatically and applies the patches. So if we go back here to the actions again, you can see that the fix forever drift was detected. And as we saw before, the apply patches workflow runs. And as you can see, we are already in the patching process again, fully automated without another approval that is required. So it applies the patches, triggers another scan, and it also now adds afterwards metadata and comments to the issue so that everyone is aware that this was a drift patching. So as you can see, the system is now fully patched again. And if we go back to my ticket, you can see the progress is 100%. We have the mitigated asset again. And of course, also here, both assets are fixed, and just less than a minute ago, we scanned this asset. And of course, also my space risk is again back to 0. So this closes the loop and the vulnerability stays fixed forever. Remember, this can not only be done for vulnerabilities, but also for misconfigurations in your environment. And you can be sure that what you have approved and fixed once will stay fixed forever. So the same question again, how do you do that today, and how long does it take you to get the information that the drift for something you have already fixed even happened? How do you know how it was fixed back then and what needs to be applied now to get it fixed again? These are usually very difficult, if not impossible, questions to answer, and the risk of not being secure and failing audits is very high. With Mondoo's Agentic Vulnerability Management, we offer you a fast, reliable, sustainable, and audit-ready solution so you don't have to think about these issues anymore. You have now seen that security automation that only surfaces findings isn't enough anymore. Remediation must be actionable, traceable, and repeatable. By treating Mondoo as a single source of truth for desired state and leveraging Mondoo's Agentic Vulnerability Management AI capabilities, the issues that you fix will stay fixed forever. You open a ticket, the remediation pipeline does the work, and you stay secure. No headaches, no guesswork, just clean patching and workflows at that scale. Thank you for taking the time to watch this demo of our Agentic Vulnerability Management approach and the Fix Now, Fix Forever workflow.